Reboots, reboots, reboots. We are in a reboot pandemic right now. But regardless, you clicked on this video, so that means that you want to hear my opinions on the new Mean Girls reboot anyways. Tricking people through marketing always works, especially when you bait people into a movie musical. Today, we are going to be discussing everything about the 2024 new Mean Girls movie. From casting, to characters, to costuming. Renee Rapp was the perfect choice for Regina George, and nobody on this planet could change my mind. She also plays Regina in the actual Mean Girls musical on Broadway as well. She has since she was 19, and she basically is Regina George at this point. I also love the fact that Ali Carvalho played Janice. I thought she was a great choice. Do you know that she was Moana? It's Moana, guys. Moana played Janice, and I love it. I love it. I thought her performance left no crumbs, as well as, I hope I'm saying this right, Jaquel Spivey, like as Damien. Wow, they had really good character chemistry. I liked how they were on screen together. I love the choice as Bebe Phillips as Mrs. George too. I felt like she really encapsulated the Regina's mom essence. Christopher Briney, aka Conrad from The Summer I Turned Pretty, was also, in my opinion, the perfect choice to cast as Aaron Samuels in this movie, because I feel like Katie crushing on Aaron Samuels is like the epitome of every girl right now crushing on all of these medium, ugly, generic white boys, myself included. And you know what, that's the male beauty standard right now, and I feel like Chris Briney like really encapsulated it perfectly. I also felt like the actresses who played Karen and Gretchen were really good as well. I thought everyone was like a really great choice for casting. I think they really knocked it out of the park as far as casting went. And honestly, if they didn't, that would have been very disappointing because they had pretty big shoes to fill and expectations to live up to with the original. The characters themselves though were all over the map. In this movie, I honestly thought that Katie fell very flat. And I know it's a musical and things are a lot more fast-paced and also replaced with songs, but even so, it felt like a lot of Katie's growth and general story arc was missing, or just anything that defined her in the original as a character. Someone who was portrayed a lot better in this movie though was Janice, I would say, because in the original, I honestly viewed her a lot more as a villain, but in this movie, it seems they gave her some updates to make her less of a villain now. I think that the character who really stole the show, of course, was Regina George, and there was an even bigger emphasis on her in this adaptation. Her storyline felt a lot more full, and she just felt like more of a person. And like I said, Renee Rapp has been playing Regina George since she was like 19, so that's really not much of a surprise. This might be controversial, but I really didn't love Karen's character. I know everything is supposed to be over the top and even more so exaggerated in musicals, but my girl Avantika was low-key robbed. Like, I loved her so much in The Sex Lives of College Girls, which Renee Rapp was also in, but I feel like she was just robbed. She did what she could with the role she was given, and she slayed the fuck out of it. But other than her performance in Sexy, I was really disappointed in her character's complete reduction of any brain cells, which is not at all Avantika's fault. That is completely on the people who actually made the movie. I could make an entire video on the damn costumes in this movie, but I won't. My first question, did Shein 2021 sponsor the film? Because all of the clothes felt so cheap and tacky. Tom Broker was the costume designer for the Mean Girls 2024 movie, and although he's done projects like 30 Rock and literally SNL, I feel like the costumes felt very flat and were an extreme disappointment to the audience. Anyone who knows anything about fashion right now knows how fast trends are cycling through and how the trend cycle is accelerating. And so with that, trends from 2020 look dated and are considered borderline chuggy. In my opinion, Regina's costuming was the most disappointing of all. Her most memorable look in this entire movie is probably this one, and it looks like an ad from Shein in 2020. I think everyone was hoping that the costumes in this movie would be similar to Do Revenge, which was styled by Alana Morsehead. Katie's main outfit was fine, but it's literally just a flannel and pants, so it's not that crazy or anything. You know, Janice's costuming I didn't initially love, but it kind of grew on me the more I had time to digest it. And that's because she's the only character in this movie with a distinguishable sense of style. Like, you could see an outfit like that and be like, oh, that's supposed to be Janice. Everybody else in the movie, their clothes weren't very personal. Whereas in the original Mean Girls, you could see an outfit that's very distinguishable and say, that is something Karen would wear, that is something Katie would wear. There isn't much to say about the plot, as it is a reboot. Not much changed, although I did really enjoy the pacing of the musical. It was very nice and engaging. I will say the movie had a really nice flow to it. It didn't really feel like it was lagging at all. It was definitely able to hold my full attention for the duration of the film and not feel bored at all. Not a ton of dialogue changed from the original either, other than some woke updating from like the more problematic parts of the original movie. Like, Coach Carr doesn't have an affair with a student anymore, Regina's less homophobic, stuff like that. Just things that wouldn't really fly in high schools today. I know that songs aren't necessarily a part of the dialogue, or maybe they are, I'm not really sure. But this is my first time doing an official movie critique, okay? So give me a break, I'm trying. But I love the songs. My favorites were Sexy and also Meet the Plastics. I think Sexy was my #1 though. I was genuinely so impressed. And Avantika also has such an amazing voice and stage presence that I had no idea about. And I was so shocked when I saw the Sexy number. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. And I honestly love it even more than the original musical version. Along with the songs, the choreography was really good too. My only bone to pick is that I heard on TikTok that allegedly a lot of the dancers weren't invited to the Mean Girls premiere, but instead they invited a bunch of influencers and adjacent people. But that's just a rumor. I'm not claiming that that's true. It's all alleged. Just telling you guys what I heard. And I feel like the choreography definitely enhanced the cinematography as well. The amount of bright colors in this movie made it feel super girly and fun and almost like a party. There's this one musical number, I think it's Stupid with Love, where everything is literally just color everywhere. It's in the hallway. I'll try and find a picture of it, but it was just a masterpiece. There was definitely a lot of time spent on that, and I could tell, and I loved it. My biggest gripe with the movie is the marketing. The tagline, "Not Your Mother's Mean Girls," is so misleading to start. It makes it sound like it's more of a 2024 reboot reprise, not just a movie musical, and you honestly can't even tell from the trailers that it is a musical. This is just clearly a money grab from marketers, but I really don't understand why they did that. It reminds me a lot of how Jennifer's Body was marketed towards men and how all the posters were sexy Megan Fox, when that's not at all what the movie is about. And then it was received poorly by audiences. But if they had just marketed it to the correct people, aka teenage girls, instead of tricking the audience into the theater, it would have done a lot better. And that's how I feel about this movie too, because there is a very large group of people out there who would appreciate a movie musical and musicals and things like that in general. So that's really weird to me. Although this isn't technically a reboot, I would say it's very much still in the family. All of these big companies are pouring out their funds into projects they know will make them a bunch of money, even though they're just surfing the wave off of original franchises and popular things that worked. And it's extremely obvious too. In the past year though, I do think we've seen a little bit of improvement in that sense with movies like Bottom, Saltburn, Priscilla, but there's definitely still a lot more progress to be made in that department. Overall, I think this movie was really good for a reboot movie musical. Other than the bad marketing and costumes, it was solid. Also, I hope to see Renee Rapp a lot more in the future because I am literally in love with her. You know, Renee, if you're watching this right now, I'm in love with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below. I would love to have a discussion with you guys in the comments. I try to respond to everyone. So if you want to argue, if you want to beef, if you want to compliment each other, let's talk in my comments. XOXO. Haley.